Hey, everybody! Tonight we're diving into a situation that's tense, complicated, and could have huge implications for, well, everyone. It's a topic that's been simmering for decades but has recently started to boil over, capturing the world's attention. We're talking about China and Taiwan. This isn't just a regional issue, it's a global one with far-reaching consequences. Now, if you're thinking, wait, isn't Taiwan just part of China? You're not alone. This is a common misconception, and it's at the very heart of the issue. That's the very heart of the issue. The debate over Taiwan's status is not just a political or diplomatic squabble, it's a deeply rooted historical conflict. See, China claims Taiwan as its own territory. They argue that Taiwan has always been a part of China, a claim that dates back to the end of the Chinese Civil War in 1949. They say it's always been a part of China, even though Taiwan has been self-governing for over 70 years. Taiwan operates like an independent country with its own government, military, and constitution. It's like that friend who insists you still owe them $5 from 1998. Technically, maybe. But it's been a while, right? And things have changed a lot since then, but it's been a while, right? Over 70 years is a long time for any political situation to remain unresolved. The problem is, China isn't just sending strongly worded letters about this. They're taking more aggressive actions that are raising alarms worldwide. They're flexing their military muscles, flying fighter jets near Taiwan, and sending warships into the waters around the island. These actions are not just symbolic, they are real threats that could escalate into conflict. It's all getting a bit too close for comfort. The military maneuvers are creating a tense atmosphere that could easily spiral out of control. This isn't some abstract geopolitical chess match, it's a real situation with real people caught in the middle. The citizens of Taiwan live under the constant shadow of potential conflict. The big question is, how far is China willing to go to assert its claim over Taiwan? Are they prepared to go to war, or is this all just posturing? And what will the rest of the world, especially the United States, do about it? The US has a complicated relationship with Taiwan, providing military support while not officially recognizing it as a separate country. Buckle up, folks, because this is where things get really interesting. And by interesting, I mean terrifying. The stakes are incredibly high, and the world is watching closely to see what happens next. Will diplomacy prevail, or are we on the brink of a major conflict? Remember that whole flexing their military muscles thing? Well, it's not just a show for the cameras. China recently took it up a notch with something called Sharp Sword 2024, a name that sounds straight out of an action movie. It's basically a massive military exercise, but not the kind with jumping jacks and awkward stretches. We're talking about a full-scale simulation of warfare. Picture this: warships slicing through the waters, fighter jets roaring across the sky, and thousands of troops on the ground, all simulating combat scenarios. It's a display of power that's hard to ignore. The message was loud and clear. China's military is big, it's getting bigger, and it's ready to use force if it needs to. This isn't just about defense, it's about showing the world what they're capable of. Now, China claims these exercises are routine and not aimed at anyone in particular. They say it's all about maintaining readiness and ensuring their forces are prepared. But let's be real, they're happening right in Taiwan's backyard. It's hard to believe this isn't sending a specific message. It's like throwing a rager next door when you know your neighbor has a big exam in the morning. The timing and location are just too coincidental. These exercises have really ratcheted up the tension in the region. It's not just a show of force, it's a warning shot across the bow. It's like someone just cranked up the thermostat in an already sweltering room. The heat is on, and everyone is feeling it. Everyone's sweating a little more, and nobody's quite sure what's going to happen next. The world watches with bated breath, waiting to see if this show of force will lead to something more. So, why is China so fixated on this island nation? What makes Taiwan such a focal point in the grand scheme of global politics and regional dominance? Why can't they just agree to disagree and move on? The answer lies in a complex web of historical grievances, political ideologies, and nationalistic fervor. Well, it's complicated. There's history, there's politics, and there's a whole lot of national pride swirling around. The roots of this conflict go back decades, even centuries, and are deeply embedded in the national consciousness of both China and Taiwan. For China, Taiwan is seen as a symbol of unfinished business. They see it as a breakaway province that must be reunited with the mainland, even if it means using force. This perspective is not just a political stance, but a deeply ingrained part of Chinese national identity. It's like that last puzzle piece that's just out of reach, driving you bonkers. The more you try to fit it in, the more it seems to elude you, creating a sense of frustration and urgency. But it's also about more than just territory. Taiwan is a technological powerhouse, home to some of the world's leading tech companies and manufacturers. Taiwan is strategically important. It sits right in the middle of some very important shipping lanes. Control over Taiwan would mean control over a significant portion of global trade routes. Controlling Taiwan would give China a major boost in its quest to become the dominant power in the region. It would enhance their military and economic influence, making them a formidable force on the global stage. It also wouldn't look great for the Chinese Communist Party if they just let Taiwan be Taiwan. The party's legitimacy is partly built on the promise of national unity and strength. Imagine how awkward those family reunions would be. The unresolved tension would hang in the air, making every interaction fraught with unspoken grievances and historical